What's up and welcome to Dream Simulator, also known as Evade. In this game the objective is to survive. Simple as that. What could possibly go wrong? This game is a fast-paced game of cat and mouse. Is the cat and you are the mouse. The rounds take place in different maps that are voted on every other round and are rated by difficulty. However, the servers are like one big hive mind and will always vote for the same maps. Your goal is the same as everyone else: don't die. Unfortunately for you, the next bots are faster than your dad's getting milk speedrun time, and will relentlessly chase you. Luckily for you, you also happen to be in possession of some compound V and have achieved Keemstar level speed. However, the next bots one-shot you if you even touch them, but luckily for you this game is gracious, and if any of your teammates go and revive you, then you can continue to run around and do whatever it is you casuals do. I myself am above you, as I have found enlightenment in this game and am now untouchable. You can only grovel at my feet, because you know you will never be as good as. The basics of this game is simple: survive for a set amount of time until the round ends. Doing so will result in some satisfaction.
My disappointment
Get downed once
is
and it will no
immeasurable.
longer count you as a winner, but as a
And my
loser
day
even
is
if you
ruined.
still made it to the end of the round.
But at least
Every
now
third round
it can't
there is a
get
special
much
round in
worse.
which a random event
But
effect
it
or
did get
restriction will
worse.
occur. During this round the chances of survival are slimmer, because the random thing that happens is never a good one, and will make either running more difficult, or the next bots more dangerous. I'm sure it is dependent on the player, and you might have to experience it yourself to know which ones you suck at the most, but because your opinion is inferior to mine, as shown in this graph below, no one asked and I'm going to give you my opinion, I mean the truth. The one I feel is most common will revoke your jumping ability. Second up is the no sprinting event, and as it says in the name, you can't sprint during the event. The most fun event in my opinion is military incursion or double trouble, and my least favorites are the no sprinting, no jumping and the invisible event, mostly because I'm blind and can't see 2 feet ahead of me. There is also Angry Mucky, and unlike the popular opinion, I dislike Angry Mucky a lot. It's probably one of the worst events ever, because the Angry Mucky is just so overpowered that only people who spam cola or have gold barriers can actually survive one. So in other words, I think that the event doesn't give players who are not loaded with cash a fair chance. The next thing that you should know is the different game modes. In this game you can choose between multiple game modes, and some in my opinion are funner than others, but I'ma just tell you them at base value. First off, there is casual, which is the one that you start off in when you first begin to play the game. In this game mode is basic rules, basic stuff, you get the gist. Next one up is social space. In this game mode there is no next bots, which you think would be easy dubs, but it's mostly just a hangout place for people, and I pretty much never go in there because it's not actually the game, but some social hangout, which isn't why I wanted to play this game in the first place. After that we got big team, which is probably my favorite game mode, because it's exactly like casual, but with a ton, and I mean a ton of people, which makes rounds very chaotic and enjoyable. After that we got voice chat, which is casual but chat is taken out and is replaced by voice chat, so no typing and it requires you to have voice chat enabled, so some people might not be able to do this game mode. Second to last we have the pro servers, which almost every game has, and it's no different. More rewards, harder difficulty. Finally we have team deathmatch, and I personally don't like this game mode as much as casual, but it's alright. I feel though that there is times where sweaty players can make the game mode no longer fun by actually never dying, but that's just me, and having that happen isn't usually too often, so keep that in mind. Next on the list is the characters. The game says that these are skins, but they actually have perks when you use them, which can be very confusing. You unlock the ability to purchase new skins as you level up, but the only ones that actually matter are the stilts for their 8% increase in speed, and the Hermes boots with their increased acceleration. But in my opinion I love Bloxy Boy because of the super increase in speed when jump scared by a next bit. I don't love it because it's good, I mean it's alright. I mostly love it because it adds to the immersion of the experience of being chased. That's really all you need to know about skins, because there isn't much to them in the first place. Now time to cover probably my least favorite topic, the usables and the utilities. Utilities are things that you can buy that are items that you have throughout the round, but are not permanent purchases and will disappear after you use one of them in a round, and in my opinion are probably some of the most useless things to ever exist in a game, like what the heck are you going to do with a compass? Find who uses one, that's what, because no one does. Same goes for the radio and timer, actually useless. The other ones at least have some purpose to them, but even then they still are pretty trash. The one that I probably see the most is the decoy utility, which spawns a copy of you that runs in the direction that you run it. I find this pretty useless, but I guess some people have found this item to be useful. There is also the radar, which can be good in certain maps to help you know when a next bot that you can't see is near you, but it is only useful in a couple maps because in a lot of maps even a blind man can see the next bots, and that's coming from a blind man. There is also the grapple, which is like a mini Spider-Man because it grapples you over to stuff. But in most maps there isn't many spots to effectively grapple to, and because you can't hold yourself where you grappled like in most Roblox games, you unfortunately can't cheese with this utility. It really isn't bad, but the level you have to be at to use it is quite high, and in my eyes isn't something to grind all those levels to get access to. That's all the utilities, and then there are the usables. You've got the beacon, floodlight, cola, sensor, barrier, landmine, teleporter, and speed pad, all which are single-use consumables or are not worth buying unless money is your middle name. While the amount of dough that these things cost doesn't seem like much, the amount of them you have to buy to have a sufficient supply of them makes the cost stack. The beacon literally gives you the Minecraft glowing effect, and this is really only useful for meeting up with your buds in a map which is a maze, but literally 2/3 of all the maps are super open, and even someone with half of a functioning brain cell can still find you without a beacon, which makes this a rarely used usable. There's the floodlight, and Imma be real quick on this one. The floodlight is a light that illuminates an area for 3 minutes and is one of the most useless items to ever have in the game, because you're going to be running around the whole time, so you won't even ever be able to really relish in the light it provides anyways. And then there is the cola. Some say that this is the most helpful usable, and they aren't wrong. The cola gives you a huge speed boost, but it only lasts for a couple seconds, so in order to really harness the power of it you need to invest so much money into buying hundreds of these things that it is only the rich that really get to experience its full power. The next usable is the sensor, and this thing is so useless. I have only ever seen this thing used about 2 times. Its whole thing is that it pings, and the faster the pings get the closer the next bots are to it, which is good and all, but actually who is going to put in the money to know when the next bots are close? Just spend that money on colas, gosh darn it. This whole thing is just a negative elixir trade, and I don't like it. Barriers are another usable that is probably more common than a cola, which is saying something. These barriers are like walls, and prevent the next bots from breaking and entering, but these next bots are determined and they will simply smash through the barrier, so don't rely on them to save your butt from a next bot that is trying to get you, because it won't save you, unless you have a golden barrier. Then it's like a brick wall, and even angry Mucky Eye can't break through that barrier. Problem is that the golden barrier is unbelievably expensive, and you only see those placed in rounds where it matters. Landmines are self-explanatory. Next bots walk over them, they explode. You walk over them, you will also explode. That being said, if you did not place down the landmine, then stepping on it won't make it explode. That only applies to the person who placed it down, so make sure not to get other people's landmines confused with your own. Teleporters can also be super helpful when it comes to avoiding next bots. The only problem with it is that they don't last the entire round, and if you teleport through it then the lifespan of the teleporter becomes even more short than it already was, so it's best to preserve them until the moment is right. When all is said and done, I rate it a 8 out of 10. Pretty balanced and has actual usefulness in the game, would happily buy again. Finally there is the speed pads, which are like stationary colas, but only last 1 minute and will only boost you in the direction it is pointing at. It's pretty useful if you have a planned out route to take when running from a next bot, but I find these to be placed in the direction that you are not going around 90% of the time, so don't bet on these helping you out too much. Now that we have those covered, there is one last thing you should know: the types of players in this game. There are not a lot of types of player in this game, and no matter how much other people differ from what I say, remember your training. My opinion is the only opinion in this video, and you better remember that like you remember George and Harold's hairstyles back in 3rd grade. Back to what I was saying, there are not a lot of types of players in this game, but to name of the biggest kinds of players, there are the casuals, campers, speedrunners, and sweats, noobs, and the no lives. Casuals are people who play this game for fun, and once they get bored they move on to the next game. I myself can't exactly classify myself as one of these players, but I also would not call myself a sweat. I'm more of a combination of the two, I guess. Campers are also very easy to find in this game, and their favorite setup consists of the barriers and the teleporters, as well as occasionally a floodlight. These people will set up a wall of multi-fuel barriers and emote in there for either the rest of the round, or die to a next bot who broke through their weak barriers. I genuinely don't find this kind of playstyle fun, but do whatever fits you, I guess. Speedrunners and sweats are one in the same. These people have optimized their very existence on this game and have ascended to a state of mind called the Sigma grind set. These forces of nature use one thing and one thing only. Colas. So many colas. They have more colas than all atoms in the universe combine. They have never died and never will die until the heat death of the universe, and that's pretty much all there is to them. There are noobs which are seen all the time and they usually will run into walls all the time, never use the jump mechanic to go faster, and still think that skins are just a cosmetic and don't actually give buffs. They die all the time and usually like to hang out with campers if they find one. Finally, there are the no lives. These people waste so much time on this game they break the time continuum and waste more money on usables than Jeff Bezos on giant clocks. They usually also fall into the speedrunner or sweat category and usually hang out in the social servers, flexing the fact that they don't have a dad, or in the casual servers to make themselves feel more good about themselves by flexing on all the beginners and people with a social life with their 80 golden barriers, and 20,000 colas. If you have been diagnosed with this or show symptoms of it, please seek a life and some grass. That's all that you gotta know about this game before playing, so thanks for watching and remember to sub and like, and feel free to comment on my video about things I forgot to mention or got wrong. I love what you guys did in the last video's comment section, and it clarifies a lot of the things I say, so thank you to all the people who helped. And then there are you guys know who you are and know what you have done. You are not forgiven of your decision and will pay. I will show no mercy to any of you.